This text too, I am a gay man, adult human male. The workplace isn't the place for the expression of sexuality. It is the place for work, says DM, and that's right. And look, I tell you what, I'm still just reeling from going on to the cross-agency Rainbow Network site and seeing just how deep the weirdness has permeated our public service. And, of course, the Human Rights Commission involved in Khan, that would be Prudence Walker, who has joined the mainstream misinformation campaign, and that's the other thing, against the government's limited restrictions on, not puberty blocker ban, limited restrictions on the prescription of puberty blockers to minors. That's what the government's done. But if you read the mainstream media, you would think they have declared war on young people and gay people, and it is the most evil thing government's ever done. Why? Because our media, I think, is woke. But someone who has watched this issue, and there's a participant in it, is Bob McCoskrie from Family First. He joins us by video link now. Bob, nice to talk to you. Had you heard of this? Have you heard of this interest, the cross-agency Rainbow Network, before?
No, nothing surprises me like that. I did a bit of analysis. I noticed you did as well, of the Human Rights Commission's response to the puberty blocker decision. I figured out that they had 3 spokespersons within the one media release. There was the spokesperson for rainbow rights, there was a spokesperson for children's rights, and there was a spokesperson for gender equality, I think it was. So there's 3 people grifting off the taxpayer, just putting out meaningless statements. The sooner we disband the Human Rights Commission, the better for themselves, I think.
Well, Prudence Walker will not front on this program and explain why she's telling lies with taxpayers' money to the New Zealand public. And the lie being, Bob, and I want to come back to the central point of this, she said that puberty blockers were proven safe and effective in reducing harm for young people. And I just want her to point to one official study or one study that says that.
Well, she'll probably point to maybe Jamie Veal at Waikato University or Counting Ourselves, all these studies which are self-selected. They're basically within their little community and they're not peer-reviewed. They're not credible studies. What they should be looking at, and I think I actually sent you the study after your discussion with
the Finnish one, the Finnish
Sue Bagshaw,
yeah,
the Finnish study, which looked at suicide ideation and suicide after gender affirmation, so-called treatment, and it actually got worse because you're not dealing with the presenting problem, which is the mental health challenges. The same way, Sean, that we deal with anorexia nervosa. I mean, do we tell kids who think that they're fat when they're actually dangerously skinny? Do we tell them, here's some weight loss pills and we'll book you in for a liposuction and we need to get you skinnier? No, we don't. We heal the mind because of the dysphoria. And yet, for some reason, when somebody thinks that they're the opposite sex, we suddenly think it's cool to confuse them, chemicalize them, and then castrate them. So it's just an incredible agenda which has gained steam, and it's finally had some pushback. So don't be surprised that the Human Rights Commission are kicking up a stink at the moment, because it's, their whole narrative is under attack.
Well, it's more than just the Human Rights Commission, though, isn't it, Bob? It is every mainstream media organisation has republished and propagates the misinformation, disinformation and lies, A, that this is a ban, which it's not. It's a restriction on prescription for people by age. B, that this was ever a safe and effective treatment. And C, that the government it's somehow anti-gay or anti-kids, that it's damaging for anyone.
Yeah.
How can they keep on doing that in a functional society? How can our news media be the people misinforming the people?
Well, the narrative being pushed out is that this is a politicians interfering in medicine. But the fact of the matter is it was the Ministry of Health who put out the briefing paper, which said, look, we can't prove that these drugs are safe. We can't prove they're effective. There's a reason they're off-label, because MedSafe hasn't approved them. And so in the interest of caution, and because we're experimenting on children, we're going to be cautious. So it was a medically based system.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely. Yeah.
So the narrative of the media has been appalling. Apart from your interview with Dame Sue Bagshaw, where you actually asked important questions, and I did love the bit where she said that actually, yes, Sean, you could change your sex. So I thought that was hilarious. But apart from that highlight, you were the only one who actually pressed into some of the key questions. The rest of the lamestream media, they were just attack, finding anybody they could, and none of them have bothered to ask for to hear from people like Zara and Issy. And I know you played Zara's
we're going to play
yesterday.
Issy's interview today. Can I say that interview with Zara had an amazing impact on many people, including some people sitting not too far from me who watched it, I think, agog. And the sad story it told. But, Bob, it told a story that, to my mind, is all too common in New Zealand and has been for the last 15 years. We do, it appears, have a cult running deep inside our education system and our government agencies that is designed to recruit people to having their sex changed and being in, having medical transition.
Well, I don't know if you've heard the latest little doozy. Have you heard about the new leader of Inside Out?
Yes, and I mentioned this morning. Now, her name's what? Judy O'Brien.
Look, all I know
people have
is
said that Judy O'Brien used to be a bloke. I don't know that.
Yeah.
But Judy O'Brien was at the rugby union, and I said, God, check out this job going at the rugby union. I cannot believe it. That's what's wrong with New Zealand rugby. Well, it was Judy O'Brien's old job. She has gone to Inside Out. And could you just remind us what Inside Out actually is, Bob?
Well, yeah, I mean, he's gone to head up Inside Out, has the drag queen persona. There's plenty of stuff online about it. Was it New Zealand Rugby? Why you need a drag queen dressing transgender at New Zealand Rugby, I'll never know. But anyway, Inside Out is the group that's been taking in the radical gender theory, sexuality, 112 genders, 200 plus sexualities. No wonder our kids are stressed, and has basically been expanding the curriculum way beyond what was intended to all the radical stuff.
Is it still in New Zealand schools? Is Inside Out still in New Zealand schools?
Yeah, that's the problem. It depends on the school, and so the caution is really to ask your school what outside groups are allowed in. Do they allow in Inside Out? Do they allow in family planning, which is now called sexual wellbeing, Aotearoa, because family planning had such a bad name. But even other groups, even Life Education Trust, there's been some concern about some of the material they've been teaching. And so, look, parents need to ask what groups are coming in and ask for the material. We always say that if there's not full transparency and disclosure, that's an immediate red flag. Keep your kids at home and do a field trip on that day, which is your legal right. In relation to your question, is Inside Out still in schools? They are, because even though the curriculum is changing, that doesn't come in until the beginning of not next year, the following year. And so schools are just reverting. They've been told to revert back to the 2007 curriculum, but most of them are just carrying on with the current one, which is the radical one, which Labor brought in 2020. So, look, parents cannot sit back and hope for the best. They have to be proactive in this area.
Okay. Look, I'm not obsessing over this bloke, or Sheila Judy O'Brien, that worked at the rugby union. Is she done the transition, or is it just a drag queen?
No, I think I read some documentary where he was, he said he was assigned male at birth. So, yeah.
So it's just a drag queen?
Well, no, it's I think transgender.
Well, what's transgender? Sorry, I just want to get this down. So is it a bloke? Has he got all the bits and bobs of a bloke and he dresses up like a Sheila? Or
I don't know about the bits.
Or has he had some bits chopped off and added on to be a Sheila.
Yeah, don't use bits and bobs like that.
Sorry, Bob. But I'm just trying to figure this out.
Well, so is everybody, and that's the problem.
Well, I'll invite Judy, if that's his name. I'll invite Judy on to talk about that right now.
Yeah, that'd be great.
What I am finding, Bob, is that on this issue, I've just decided to keep looking at it because no other news media will. And even an old cynic like me is constantly being amazed, also almost on a daily basis, how deep the network of the transgender cult goes, particularly into government departments and corporate levels through DEI policies. It really is deep, deep inside the DNA of many institutions of this country.
Yeah, and I think I know you're going to share the other testimony of Issy, and just as a lead into that one, she got into it when she was 19, then she had top surgery at 21, hysterectomy when she was 22, and has now detransitioned and basically is doing a whole lot better mentally. But here's the interesting thing, Sean. While she was going through the transitioning process, she had all the support, all the appointments, everything that she needed to encourage her. When she decided to detransition, she was trying to get appointments to basically get medication to get her back to her biological self. They were being cancelled. She was having difficulties. It was only because we had a medical doctor associated with Family First based in Wellington that we were able to get her the support that she needed. So this is the kind of ideology of those who are.
Well, it's a cult.
I mean, you would have heard that.
And with Zara, and that was actually what Bella said to me straight after. She said, amazing. They were asking all of these questions about why she didn't want to change her gender, but as long as she was with the program, they didn't ask her a single question on the way into the madness. It's only when she tried to escape their clutches that they wanted to know what the hell was going on. Bob, is there a need for an organisation that helps people escape this cult and detransition?
Yeah, well, maybe we could get the same reporters who are all over Gloria Vale to be all over this issue as well. Similar type of concept.
But it strikes me we have young New Zealanders in particular in peril in this country, and they don't have a support network. In fact, they are at danger at school, in the public service, and in their places of work. They cannot read the truth about what is happening to them, and it must be a scary place to be once the transgender cult comes for you. I really feel like we need a national organisation where people can ring a hotline and really get saved from this,
Yeah, well, the problem is, Sean, is that under the current law, you'd be put in prison for establishing that, because under the conversion therapy law, if you go in the direction of LGBT, that conversion therapy, that is all good. Inside Out can go into schools, family planning can go into schools and indoctrinate. But if you dare to challenge and to go in the opposite direction and revert back to biological sex, then you're deemed to be. So if a parent affirms their daughter as a girl, then that could be deemed to be conversion therapy. That affects pastors, counsellors, medical professionals as well. And that's one interesting thing. I actually asked Winston Peters about this last week, is that now that they've put a ban on new prescriptions for puberty blockers while further research is done, are they going to revisit the conversion therapy law? Because it's still illegal for a counsellor or a parent or a medical professional to say, actually, we think that the healthiest thing is to get some counselling and to basically affirm you in your biological sex. That could be deemed to be conversion therapy if the radical left and this cult gets hold of it.
So interesting to hear. And I've had so many emails from Rob, from parents, and I've experienced it and attempted at it myself. You exclude the parents. Whenever you are manipulating someone, you isolate them from their existing support mechanisms and social networks. And for young people, it's their parents. And that always seems to be the first thing that they do. Don't tell your parents. You can talk without your parents. It is really evil.
Well, that was evil, but also they've used the clobber statement. And when I interviewed Chloe Cole from the US as well, who you had on when she was in New Zealand last year, you know, the parents are basically told better an alive daughter than a dead son, or vice versa. In other words, if you don't kowtow to this delusion of your child, you're basically they're going to end their life and it's going to be your fault. What parent doesn't freak out at that, think, okay, this is medical advice, I need to follow this? And yet, as we say, the Finnish study, the CAS review, the latest report out of the US from the HHS, they all confirm that actually you're not dealing with the underlying issue, which is the mental health issues. When you heal those, the gender dysphoria goes away.
Yeah. Bob, we will keep talking about this. Do you perceive any change in attitude from the mainstream media? Are they getting what a serious problem this is?
The media will go down in a screaming heap because they're more interested in hanging on to their ideology than they are addressing the concerns of the public about trust, about balance. I mean, every story that I read, bar one, was just completely slanted against this decision. There was only one, and it was actually Radio New Zealand, surprisingly, and she actually went to both sides, and it was evenly balanced. I actually emailed her and congratulated her. I'll have to find out, but it was the only one. Every other one was just completely stacked opinion pieces from everybody slamming the decision.
I feel like I am a journalist and I'm onto the thalidomide story, or smoking causes cancer, and no one else is running it, you know?
Well, that's exactly it. And I think the problem for the media, though, is that they have lost the room. Because the general public, all the polling that we have done on this area, the majority, around 60 to 70%, there's kind of this hardcore 15% that want this agenda, like this cult. There's a 15% that are still trying to figure it out. And then that leaves you with about 70%, 65% who are concerned. They don't want kids being taught they can change their sex. They don't want dudes and girls changing rooms. They don't want dudes and girls sports. And they don't want kids being chemicalized and castrated because they think they're the opposite sex. The media has lost the public on this issue. And so they can print these stories forever. But the fact of the matter is the public isn't buying it. And I think if you actually polled on it, and maybe I should give my pollster a ring and just see if people agree with the decision of the government, I think you'd find very strong support.
All right, Bob, platform would help out if you want to do a specific poll on that. We'll have a talk about it. Look, I thank you for your time this morning. It's a very fast-moving story. Thank you very much indeed for your time today, and also for making the interview with Izzy today and the interview with Zara available to the platform. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah, well, thanks to the platform being willing to be a media that actually does its job and is willing to tell both sides and invite people on that they may disagree with.
Yeah. Bob McCoskrie there from Family First. Let's go to a break.